everybody, Dr. Kevin Hyde here with Pinellas Anxiety Specialists. Today I just wanted to talk a little bit about how to handle those intrusive negative thoughts that seem to happen at the worst times. And I know if you're anything like me, it seems to be right before bed. It's like I lay down and then all of a sudden all those thoughts start flooding into my head. All the mistakes that I've made, all the ways that I was a bad parent and I'm screwing up my kids' lives. And it just seems to flood through my brain and make it really hard to fall asleep. And so today I want to talk through some techniques that will help make it a little bit easier for you to do that. And so first, I just want to start by defining what this is called, which is cognitive defusion. You've probably never heard that term before, and that's okay. But what it means is that when you're fused with your thoughts, it means that you are just so connected with them that you can't see any light of day between them, right? You just believe them fully. And so when your mind tells you that you're a bad mother, you just believe that, right? And when you believe it, you start to feel bad, you start to feel anxious, you start to feel depressed. It adds to the stress and the tension that you're feeling, making it hard to sleep, making it hard to do the things that you want to do. And so with defusion, what we want to do is help you get some distance from your thoughts, to recognize that your mind and your thoughts can actually lie to you. They can not be telling you the truth, which seems kind of weird and hard to believe because we've been thinking for all of our lives and we always just believe what our mind tells us because that's what we're trained to do. But our mind comes up with these stories that are not necessarily true. And so I want to help you learn the process for recognizing that your mind might be making up stories and getting some distance or some defusion from those powerful negative thoughts. Okay, so now that we know what fusion and defusion is, the first step in trying to distance ourselves from the thoughts is to become aware that we're having the thoughts. So typically we go throughout the day and our mind is just constantly having thoughts. While we're grocery shopping or talking with our family or friends, playing with our kids, our mind is just constantly going with these thoughts. And we don't notice it. It's just in the background of our mind. Sometimes it has an effect on our emotions, or we might remember that we forgot to do something. But most of the time, we're not aware that it's happening. It's just happening in the background. So that can be a problem when your mind is telling you that you're a failure or you're a bad mother, and you end up believing it. And instead of spending time with your kids, you retreat to your bedroom and just crawl up under the covers and don't want to be around anybody. That's being fused with the thoughts. So the first thing we want to do is build the awareness that we're actually having thoughts. And one of the ways to do this is through mindfulness meditation. And I've written a blog on this. I've done another video on mindfulness. So if you want, you can check those out. But the basic thing that we want to do is try and slow things down and just stay in the present moment. And so how we do that is by focusing on our breathing, just noticing the breath coming in and going out and trying to stay focused on that. And as you do this, pretty quickly you become aware that you get distracted. And that distraction is your thoughts. And so as you get distracted and you notice that you're distracted, that's helping you become aware that you're having those thoughts, okay? And in mindfulness, you would return to the breath, but right now what we're trying to do is just build that skill of noticing that you're having thoughts. So beginning to practice some mindfulness, either meditation or some grounding techniques, which is just kind of noticing things in the room, just focusing on them, noticing details about them, color, shape, texture, and then becoming aware when you get distracted. That is helping you notice the thoughts that you're having. Okay, and then the second step as part of that is, now that you're aware that you're having thoughts, is recognizing that a thought is just a thought. That sounds kind of silly, but literally, what is a thought? Nobody's been able to give me a good definition. And I know that officially in biology, it's these electrical and chemical reactions that are happening between the cells up in your brain, but a thought is just something that happens in our mind, and it actually has no power, right? You can't touch a thought. A thought can't force you to do anything. And as we mentioned, some of those thoughts, they can affect your emotions, but a lot of that is because of not being aware and sort of that just happening behind the scenes. So when you're able to notice that you're having a thought and then tell yourself that a thought is just a thought, it can put a little bit of distance between you and that thought, right? That separation, that defusion. And an example of this is if you imagine yourself doing something right now, you can imagine it without actually doing it. And just like that, you can have the thought that you're a bad mother without actually being a bad mother. Okay, and so just like thoughts are just thoughts, one of the things that we notice with thoughts is they're typically words or phrases. And these could be things that maybe your parents told you when you were little, or that somebody told you in an abusive relationship, and your mind has just taken it over. I'm a failure, I suck, I'm not good enough, I'm never going to succeed. Any of those things going through your mind are thoughts and they're phrases. And so breaking it down even further from a thought is a thought, a phrase is just a collection of words. And what is a word? A word is letters and sounds. And to us, they mean something because we give them meaning, right? We've learned growing up what a failure is, what a success is, what the word good is. But if we were to take our English dictionary and put it in front of someone who speaks a different language, like Chinese, they wouldn't understand it, right? To them, it's just a collection of letters. That's meaningless. It's gibberish to them. And so those letters only have meaning because we give them meaning. So an example of this is lemon. If I said the word lemon, I'm guessing that you're picturing that citrusy yellow fruit, right? Goes into lemonade, it's delicious on a hot day, but you're picturing that because you've learned growing up that lemon is that yellow citrus fruit. But if I were to go lemon, 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 I probably said it, 15, 20 times there? I'm guessing you didn't have 15 or 20 different images of lemons popping up in your head, because at that point, by saying it over and over and over and over, it becomes just a sound, right? It's just lemon over and over and over. And so it no longer has that same context. And so we can do that to kind of play around with some of these negative thoughts that seem to have a lot of power over us. So if you take that negative thought, that phrase that your mind is telling you, and you sing to the happy birthday tune, that's kind of being silly, right? You're taking something that you would say is negative, that is bad, and if you sing it to a tune, suddenly it's kind of silly. Or you can have like a character voice saying, like Mickey Mouse. If Mickey Mouse is telling you that you're a failure, it's probably not going to have the same authority as if your mother tells you you're a failure, right? That's really meaningful because she knows you and cares about you. So it's really hard to take your mind seriously when those negative thoughts are sung in silly ways to a song or from a character. Okay, and so that, just by doing that, what we're doing is, again, putting more distance, more defusion between you and the thought. Okay, and the last thing that I want to say about this is that having the negative thoughts, having a negative emotion in itself is not a bad thing. Where it causes problems is when we take actions based on those negative thoughts. So if we're anxious about going into public, and so we don't go to our child's graduation or their wedding because we don't want to be around a lot of people, that's something you're going to regret for the rest of your life. Now, if you feel anxiety, if you have some negative thoughts, but you go to that wedding, chances are you're going to be very happy that you did. So the last thing that I want to say is, think about what is important to you, what is meaningful, what are the things that you value, and how are these thoughts getting in the way of living in line with those values. Okay, because if you have the thought, if you take these steps to try and put some distance between you, and then you do the thing that you find is important, then that takes away all the power that those negative thoughts have to affect you and affect your emotions. All right, so there you have it. Those are my tips for defusing from some of those negative thoughts. Hope that's helpful. If you have any questions or concerns, please reach out. I'd love to hear from you. And I hope that you guys have a wonderful day.